Legacy for only $219 a month. Feel the love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Welcome to World News. Tonight's street slide. Stocks plunge over uncertainty about the recovery, and consumer spending drops by the largest amount in 9 months. Source of shame. Brian Ross exposes evidence of underage children working in the nation's fruit fields, and some major retailers immediately react. Women at war. On the front lines, the roles of men and women in combat are blurring. Stormy weather, drenching rains, and high winds cause damage and misery in the southern U.S. And our persons of the week. The gifted athlete sidelined by a rare disease, and the friends who rally round.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson.
Good evening. One day up, next day down. It's sort of a trend on Wall Street. No good day goes unpunished. Yesterday, stocks rose nearly 200 points on news the economy had grown for the first time in more than a year. And then today, the Dow Industrials gave back yesterday's gains and then some, falling 250 points after a report that consumer spending had fallen by 0.5% in September, the largest drop in 9 months. As we say, one day confidence, the next day doubt. So Betsy Stark joins us again tonight. Betsy?
Charlie, the volatility in the stock market, up 200 yesterday, down 250 today, reflects the push and pull in the broader economy right now. Some things are getting better, others are getting worse. And there's an awful lot of nervousness about which way the consumer will go as we head into the holidays.
The optimism that investors felt yesterday that the recession is finally over gave way today to caution. The new numbers on consumer spending are a clear sign that Americans are hard-pressed to spend without a big government incentive.
One of our major concerns is, how does the consumer react in this environment, especially as we sort of head into the most important season for the consumer, the holiday shopping season.
Consumers we talked to today continue to feel the pinch of the recession.
Just, is money tighter this year?
With the recession that's going on, it is.
We're definitely more careful now how we're spending than we were before. We're trying to budget.
Retailers who understand what they're up against have laid on the holiday charm earlier than usual.
You getting ready for the Christmas season now?
A day before Halloween at Sears stores nationwide, they were setting the stage for the kind of doorbuster sales normally reserved for the day after Thanksgiving.
We know that our customers are facing tough economic times, and we want to give them a way that they can stretch their dollars.
Sears isn't the only one. Retailers are trying to outdo each other in an early battle for the holiday dollar. Kmart has a Christmas Club card that offers shoppers 3% interest on money they set aside to buy gifts at Kmart. Best Buy lets shoppers set up a wish list so others can make cash contributions toward a big-ticket item. And Toys R Us is opening nearly 350 mini stores to make it easier to shop with them. They'll all close in January.
How fierce is the competition this year for the limited dollars that are out there?
We have less money being spent on holiday than last year, so retailers are trying to be the first ones in with the good deals to become the Christmas headquarters, get the early start, and try to maintain the momentum.
One thing that may work in retailers' favor, Americans worried about the economy and their job security have been saving more than usual this year. And some analysts think they'll dip into those savings to pay for the holidays, Charlie.
All right, Betsy Stark reporting. Thanks. And the Obama administration maintained today that the government is doing its part to bolster the recovery. The White House declared that the economic stimulus program had directly created or saved more than 640,000 jobs. But there is nuance behind those numbers. Jake Tapper's at the White House. Jake?
That's right, Charlie. Well, the White House is pulling out all the stops to argue that, in fact, the stimulus package has saved or created almost 1 million American jobs, but it's impossible to verify that claim.
California's San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission received $5 million in stimulus funds to expand the railroad.
With the influx of the stimulus money, we were allowed to move forward with the funding and the project itself so we could get going and keep jobs here in the county.
Railroad Commission staff originally reported to the White House that the stimulus money saved 250 jobs. Then, realizing they had mistakenly double credited, they later changed that to 125 jobs. Tuesday, they updated it again to 74 jobs. part of the 329,000 jobs that the White House this afternoon reported have been, according to states and localities, directly saved or created by the $159 billion in funds for stimulus projects allocated as of the end of September. The White House today argued forcefully that those 640,000 jobs created additional jobs in the service sector, bringing the actual total to 1 million jobs saved or created since February. The White House today heralded the stimulus as the reason for recent economic growth.
The economic forecasters have attributed the vast bulk of this growth to the Economic Recovery Act, the much maligned and battered economic recovery.
But there are questions about how the White House is adding up these job numbers. There is no uniform set of standards as to what it means to save a job versus to create a job. No way to verify that someone would actually have been laid off without the stimulus money. Though Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger had this to say today about the 62,000 education jobs in his state he says were saved.
There's again people that said, well, we would have done something about that anyway. No, these teachers would have been gone if it wouldn't have been for the federal stimulus money. I just want to make sure you understand that.
The point of the Stimulus Act, Charlie, is obviously to create jobs, but at what cost? $160 billion divided by the administration's number, 1 million, that's $160,000 per job. But the administration calls that calculator abuse. Charlie?
All right. Thanks, Jake Tapper at the White House. Overseas news, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton ended her 3-day visit to Pakistan, where her frustration with the government there was met with sharp criticism in return. Today, Pakistanis strongly objected to the Secretary's statement yesterday, accusing the government of squandering opportunities to pursue al-Qaeda. ABC's Jim Sciutto spoke with the Secretary today in Islamabad and asked about her blunt message to the Pakistanis.
It will not be sufficient to achieve the level of security that Pakistanis deserve if we don't go after those who are still threatening not only Pakistan, but Afghanistan and the rest of the world. And we wanted to put that on the table, and I think it was important that we did.
Do you believe the Pakistani government is, in effect, harboring terrorists?
I don't think that they are. I think that they have gone after the enemies who most directly threaten them. When we arrested somebody like we did recently who was trained in Pakistan at a training camp by al-Qaeda, it's not just our intelligence service or our government. The American people say, well, wait a minute, what's going on here?
You've heard animosity here. You've heard real doubts about America's intentions. You've heard conspiracy theories. These are familiar points of view in this part of the world. Is the U.S. having a fundamental problem getting its message out?
I think that we haven't done as good a job as I wish we had in the past, but I'm going to keep trying, and I want at least people to go away saying, well, no American official has ever come and listened to us like this.
David Plouffe's book mentions a story about your potential selection as Obama's vice president. Do you believe, as he says in his book, that your husband lost you that job?
I have no idea, but I really, am satisfied and happy to be doing what I'm doing, and I think Joe Biden's doing a great job as vice president. I'm not somebody who looks backwards. I look forward, and I'm very proud to be representing both President Obama and my country.
Jim Sciutto talking to the Secretary of State in Pakistan today. Back in this country, there was a mid-air collision of 2 military aircraft off the coast of San Diego. A Coast Guard C-130 plane last night on an active search and rescue mission collided with one of 4 Marine attack helicopters, which was on a training mission. 9 people were on board the 2 aircraft, all feared dead. Parts of the southern U.S. are saturated after days of rain in an area that really doesn't need it. Some areas in Arkansas have received more than 4 times the normal rainfall for the month of October. The situation has been compounded by a storm system which spawned several tornadoes, leaving a trail of destruction. Steve Osunsami is in Shreveport, Louisiana.
The storm hit Louisiana hard.
It was brutal. It happened so fast I couldn't see. It's limbs in my truck and metal and everything else.
In some places, more than 8 inches of rain fell at once. At least 3 tornadoes touched down across the state. This home was split in 2.
By the time I got to the kitchen, the tree had fell in the house.
Winds were strong enough to knock down a well-known landmark, the church steeple, here in downtown Shreveport. This is the steeple. It's the size of a house. What's left of the steeple came crashing down on a car. 57-year-old Michael Williams was inside and happened to be driving by. He was trapped for an hour, but amazingly, he survived.
Several trailers have porches gone, and there's some obvious wind damage.
Streets were flooded, power lines snapped, lightning struck rooftops.
I saw that roof spark and started seeing smoke. I said, this is horrible, and then it just got bigger and bigger.
Meteorologists blamed these violent conditions on a cold front from the west that brought frigid temperatures that suddenly mixed with warm, moist air from the Gulf.
When it mixes with that warm, moist air, we see an explosive development of severe weather.
Drenching rains are now moving eastward and threaten to soak parts of the southeast that have seen nearly 20 inches of rain in the past few months. Steve Osinsami, ABC News, Shreveport, Louisiana.
And federal health officials are reporting the biggest one-week jump yet in child deaths from swine flu. The CDC says 19 more children have died from the H1N1 flu, bringing the total to at least 114 since April. 2/3 of those children had underlying health problems. CDC officials add that more Tamiflu for children has been released from the national stockpile of the drug. And still ahead on World News, a hidden shame in America: small children working the fields for a major fruit grower. Brian Ross investigates. When U.S. women wear the boots on the ground, female forces facing danger in Iraq and Afghanistan. And a popular athlete locked away by a rare disease until some old friends came to help. Our Persons of the Week.
This is World News with Charles Gibson, brought to you by Alnaris.
Woman down from nasal allergy attack, but we've got the ammunition she needs. Alnaris.
Alnaris to the nose.
Alnaris works differently than many other allergy medications. Alnaris fights nasal allergy symptoms that occur from allergic inflammation. Relieve those symptoms with Alnaris. Side effects may include headache, nosebleed, and sore throat. Her nose is at ease. We have liftoff! Remember, Alnaris. Ask your doctor. In the battle against nasal allergy symptoms, Alnaris combats the cause.
Ring, ring.
Progresso. Your chicken Tuscany says it has fiber in it.
Yep, 4 tasty new soups with 28% of your daily fiber.
But I like this chicken Tuscany.
I like it too.
But it has fiber in it.
That's right.
Fiber.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Progresso, you gotta taste this soup. Don't let your migraine become someone else's pain. Excedrin Migraine, clinically proven to relieve your migraine in just one dose. Excedrin. What ache?
Nancy decided she can't afford so many bathroom detours when 60% off is at stake. So today, she's talking to her doctor about overactive bladder. Terry decided she's tired of always stopping to go. So today, she's talking to her doctor too. If you have overactive bladder symptoms, today is the day to talk to your doctor and ask about prescription Toviaz. One Toviaz pill a day significantly reduces sudden urges and accidents over 24 hours, all day and all night. Plus, Toviaz comes with a simple plan with tips on food and drink choices and training your bladder. If you have certain stomach problems or glaucoma or cannot empty your bladder, you should not take Toviaz. Toviaz can cause blurred vision and drowsiness, so use caution when driving or doing unsafe tasks. The most common side effects are dry mouth and constipation. Today, Laura decided it was time she learned how to show that bladder who's boss. Talk to your doctor and ask if Toviaz is right for you.
A record number of young Americans are in college, and enrollment in community colleges is fueling the jump. With the job market so tight, almost 40% of 18 to 24-year-olds were in college last year. That's 11.5 million students. Enrollment at four-year schools was flat, but attendance at two-year schools was up by 300,000 from the year before. Tonight, we have an investigation into the shameful world of child labor inside the United States. Today, the Kroger and Meijer supermarket chains joined Walmart in saying they are going to stop buying products from the Adkin Blueberry Company. This comes after our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, found children as young as 5 working in Adkin's fields. And Brian is here tonight. Brian?
Charlie, no one keeps track of just how many children work in America's fields, but human rights groups say what we found provides a rare insight into a pervasive but well-hidden fact of life. The Adkin Blue Ribbon Packing Company of South Haven, Michigan, is one of the country's big blueberry growers. This is where ABC News found 5-year-old Suli lugging buckets of berries picked by her parents and older brothers. Older meaning 8-year-old Picho and 7-year-old Cristobal. It's a violation of federal law for this grower to use any child under the age of 12.
How long have you been doing this?
This is my third year.
Your third year? How old are you?
11.
Americans think of child labor as a problem elsewhere, but in fact, we have that problem in our own backyard.
The owner of the Michigan operation, Randy Atkin, claims he won't tolerate children in his fields, but he did not want to answer any of our questions.
So we'd just like to ask you some questions about some of the underage labor on your farm. Do you have any comment?
Atkin was cited this week by the Department of Labor, and Walmart and Kroger suspended doing business with him after learning of the ABC News investigation of what many legal aid lawyers say is a widespread practice.
People just put their head in the sand and know that it happens, and it's a nod and a wink, and we look the other way.
We conducted our investigation with the help of 4 graduate students awarded Carnegie Fellowships, who spent weeks this summer in the fields, where migrant families barely scrape by, forced by low wages, they say, to put their children to work.
What it really comes down to is small fingers, picking the smaller fruits and vegetables.
But it can be dangerous work, with repeated exposure to chemicals used as crop pesticides, as 8-year-old Edgar told us in a Michigan cherry orchard.
They could poison themselves because it's too dangerous for them, or sometimes they could go to the hospital.
The new Secretary of Labor, Hilda Solis, has promised a crackdown on child labor, but the wave of new actions this summer against blueberry growers resulted in fines of only about $1,000 per child found in the fields, which human rights groups say is hardly enough to bring an end to a long-standing practice they call an American disgrace, Charlie.
And no doubt this goes on a lot more broadly than on just this one farm.
In virtually every state, in fruit and vegetable fields where fruit and vegetables are picked by hand.
All right, Brian Ross, our chief investigative correspondent, thanks. And you can see more of Brian's investigation, his full report, later on Nightline. Coming up, Sisters in Arms, the American women serving and dying in Afghanistan and Iraq.
With all of the good things you do for your heart, take Centrum Cardio, the only complete multivitamin with CoraWise phytosterols that may reduce the risk of heart disease by lowering cholesterol. Centrum Cardio.
Mom knew I needed calcium from day one. Now I'm the mom, and I know 80% of us don't get enough calcium from food. Our bodies can steal it from our bones. Give yourself some TLC, Tender Loving Caltrate, and give TLC to somebody you love.
I've had asthma for 12 years.
6 years.
I've had asthma forever.
I never knew why my asthma symptoms kept coming back. Or that I could help prevent them in the first place.
The problem was that my controller medicine
was treating only one main cause of asthma symptoms.
But there are 2, airway constriction and inflammation.
Unlike most controllers, Advair treats both main causes.
Advair treats both main causes.
And that helps prevent symptoms in the first place.
Advair contains salmeterol. Salmeterol may increase the chance of asthma-related death, so Advair is not for asthma that's well controlled on another controller medicine. Advair will not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be taken more than twice a day. Talk to your doctor about the risks and benefits of Advair. If you take Advair, see your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse.
If it's still having symptoms,
ask your doctor how to help prevent them with Advair.
Get your first prescription free and save on refills.
Advair. Now you know.
I'm an eye doctor and a patient. For my type of chronic dry eye, over-the-counter drops aren't enough. So I also use what I prescribe for many of my patients, Restasis. It's the only prescription eye drop to help increase tear production, which may be reduced by inflammation due to chronic dry eye. Restasis shouldn't be used by patients with active eye infections and hasn't been studied in patients with a history of herpes viral infections of the eye. The most common side effect is a temporary burning sensation. Ask your eye doctor if Restasis is right for you. It is for me.
At the White House today, President Obama held a meeting of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the latest high-level briefing as he decides what to do next in Afghanistan and how many more American men and women to send to war. And women are at war. They're not supposed to be in combat, but in wars with no front lines, they inevitably are. In her extensive travels through the region, our senior foreign correspondent, Martha Raddatz, has met many of the women in uniform.
The image of young women in a hot, dusty combat zone toting automatic weapons is still startling to some. But right now, there are 10,000 women serving in Iraq, more than 4,000 in Afghanistan.
I can't help thinking that most Americans think that women aren't in combat.
We're here and we're right up with the guys.
103 women have been killed in Iraq, 15 in Afghanistan, and hundreds more injured. Women are technically barred from combat ground units, but the front lines in these wars are blurred. Women face combat as aviators, military police, intelligence, and civil affairs officers. These Marines in Afghanistan are part of female engagement teams, reaching out to local Muslim women, covering their own hair in the process.
If you show your hair, it's kind of like seeing a nude photo here, because the women are very covered up, so it's more of just to be respectful to the population.
You're a very wise woman.
The female teams also try to find out who might be infiltrating the communities and why. The Taliban took everything from us, says this woman. They've taken our men, they've taken our children. The Marine Corps teams are considered a success, but on these and many other missions, the danger is always present. 19-year-old Army medic Monica Brown used her body to shield 5 wounded soldiers.
That was my only concern, is making sure that everyone got out of there, as fast as possible.
Didn't think about the danger at all.
No.
And Sergeant Leanne Hester's convoy was ambushed in Iraq.
We first started taking fire. I just looked to the right and saw 7 or 8 guys shooting back at us, muzzle flashes.
Both women were awarded a Silver Star for their bravery, one of many reasons why military leadership says these wars could simply not be fought without women in the ranks. Martha Raddatz, ABC News, Washington.
And up next, isolated by a rare illness until old friends discovered his fate. Our Persons of the Week.
Dad had been repeating things and acting disoriented for a while, like something was stealing him away from us. We wanted to be there for him, to hold on to him. Dad's doctor said his symptoms were signs of Alzheimer's, a type of dementia, and the prescription Aricept could help. It's thought Aricept may reduce the breakdown of a vital chemical in the brain. Studies showed Aricept slows the progression of Alzheimer's symptoms. It improves cognition and slows the decline of overall function.
Aricept is well tolerated, but not for everyone. People at risk for stomach ulcers or who take certain other medicines should tell their doctors, because serious stomach problems such as bleeding may get worse. Some people may experience fainting. Some people may have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, bruising, or not sleep well. Some people may have muscle cramps or loss of appetite or may feel tired. In studies, these were usually mild and temporary.
If it helps Dad be more like himself longer, that's everything to us.
Don't wait. Talk to your doctor about Aricept.
With COPD, I was short of breath, so I couldn't always do what I wanted to do. But 5 minutes ago, I took Symbicort, and Symbicort is already helping significantly improve my lung function. So today, I've noticed a significant difference in my breathing, and I'm doing more of what I want to do. So we're clear, it doesn't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden symptoms. My doctor said Symbicort is for COPD, including chronic bronchitis and emphysema. It should not be taken more than twice a day. Symbicort may increase your risk of lung infections, osteoporosis, and some eye problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. My COPD often meant I had to wait to do what I wanted to do. Now I take Symbicort, and it significantly improves my lung function, starting within 5 minutes. Symbicort has made a significant difference in my breathing. Now more of my want-tos are can-dos. Ask your doctor about Symbicort today. I got my first prescription free. Call or go online to learn more.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
A cold or flu can start fast. It can go from a scratchy throat in the morning to a cough to a full body ache at night. New Tylenol Cold Rapid Release Gels day and night work fast too. They release medicine fast to relieve painful coughs, congestion, and sore throats, so you can rest day and night. Feel better. Tylenol Cold.
In only 4 days at 8/7 Central, they arrive.
We are of peace.
And they're on everyone's top 10 list. ABC's V, new series premiere, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
Finally tonight, our Persons of the Week. They're involved in a reunion story that we heard about from our colleagues at ESPN's E60. A reunion that brings together a former standout athlete and the old classmates who had no idea what had happened to their friend.
And we welcome you on a beautiful night for baseball. Over and right, Pat Chalky.
In 1986, Pat Chalky was a gifted high school baseball player. His team from Grant High in Los Angeles even won a city championship game, played at Dodger Stadium, broadcast on local TV.
Hustle. He hustled no matter what.
It was one of those great moments in a young man's life. But Pat Chalky lost touch with his friends, and when a rumor went around that he had died, his classmates memorialized him with a slideshow at their 20th reunion. When Lori Green, who had gone to Grant High with Pat, heard that, she emailed condolences to his sister overseas and was stunned at the response.
She said, actually, my brother's not dead, thank God. He's just severely disabled. He has locked-in syndrome. And I wrote her back, like, what? Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I asked her if I can visit him, and she was like, yes, please go visit him.
For 9 years, Pat had been suffering from a rare brain disorder, paralyzed, unable to speak, but fully cognitive. His wife divorced him, saying the disease had taken him away.
Yes, yes.
The father of two had been moved to a convalescent home in another town. His mother, just about his only visitor, until Lori showed up.
As soon as I saw him, I felt like, oh my God, I have to help this guy.
Lori began to help Pat with simple sign language and arranged for a machine that lets him communicate with his eyes. But most importantly, she got his friends coming back into his life.
He had to wonder, why is no one coming to visit me?
I had brought a picture from the baseball team with me to show him. I said, Pat, can you see me?
And he pointed us out from our high school pictures, and I hadn't seen him in 20 years.
At that point, it really hit home that he was still there somewhere inside.
Pat was still inside. And then his kids started coming back to see the dad they remembered.
A nice one, a caring one. He would always be there for me.
Well, I don't really know how a dad would be. Maybe play with me, well, which he can't.
Lori Green started a foundation for Pat, raising $35,000 for his therapy, and arranged for him to be honored before a Dodgers game, back at Dodger Stadium.
Please welcome Pat Chalky.
His kids, Danielle and Anthony, threw out the first pitch. And now they know for sure their dad is in there, and he has learned how to show them. Sign language for I love you. And so we choose Pat Chalky, Lori Green, and all the friends and old classmates who've rallied to support him. We've put up a link to that foundation that's helping Pat. It's at the World Newser at abcnews.com. And that is World News for this Friday. I'm Charlie Gibson, and I hope you had a good day. From all of us at ABC, have a great weekend and happy Halloween.
One year ago, he won the White House in a landslide. And then, healthcare, Afghanistan, the war on swine flu, the economy. So what's he done with all that hope? Sunday morning.
Boy, that's going to get the roundtable fired up.
The Powerhouse Roundtable and George on This Week Sunday. A young girl goes out for candy, then vanishes. A mystery haunting her family for years. But could a sister's secret help break this cold case wide open?
I never told anybody.
Was the answer hiding right upstairs? Watch 2020 tonight.
Good morning, Connecticut starts Saturday, 6 a.m. with the day's top stories, plus getting returning soldiers back into the workforce.
Hey, we got the Halloween forecast for Saturday night, and we'll head into November with the 8th day. We'll see you Saturday morning at 6 a.m.
ABC Tuesday at 8, 7 Central.
Oh my God.
They arrive.
Welcome to the mothership. My name is Lisa.
You are obsessed with the visitors.
They call it spreading hope.
And we will give them our devotion.
Tell me what to do and I'll do it. It is really important that you don't get involved with the visitors. Promise. I promise.
ABC's V, new series premiere, Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC.
The good news continues during Hyundai's Extra Extra Sales event. First, we made news with Hyundai Assurance. Now Elantra is making news. Named J.D. Power's highest-ranked compact car in initial quality. Elantra comes with extra big savings, along with the extra coverage of America's best warranty. And better fuel economy so you can go the extra mile. Good news,